Texas Tech, BYU, you are going to the Big 12 championship. This is Locked On Big 12.
You are Locked On Big 12, your daily podcast on the Big 12 Conference, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Happy Saturday, everybody. Welcome into Locked On Big 12. I'm Drake Toll from America's #1 Big 12 podcast, Locked On Big 12. Thank you for making this show your first listen every single day. If you hit subscribe, I get to keep my job. Texas Tech and BYU was always the matchup. Whether you knew it or not, I knew it. If I can tell you something, you come in here. If I can tell you something humbly, when you show up and listen to this show every day, you are going to get premier ball knowledge. And the more you soak in that ball knowledge, the more you know ball. Here are the Locked On Big 12 preseason predictions. Number 1, Texas Tech. Number 2, BYU. Number 3, Utah. That is exactly where I had those three teams ranked. It is exactly where they finish this year in the Big 12 regular season. The two best teams in the conference will play in Arlington with a spot in the college football playoff on the line. Let's break down how Texas Tech beat West Virginia and how BYU beat UCF. But first, here's what it sounded like 3 months ago when Spencer McLaughlin joined this show and was told for the first time that Texas Tech and BYU correctly would be in the title.
I like Texas Tech. Having them number 1 is awesome. What are you doing at number 2? And why are you just trying to get BYU fans to watch your show?
The number 2 BYU Cougars. Here's
oh my gosh.
Quick run through. I think that Portland State, Stanford, East Carolina, all easy wins. Colorado is another pretty easy one. West Virginia, Arizona. That's how their schedule starts off. That's really, really easy. I didn't name an elite team in there. I think Utah, being a home game for BYU, gives them an advantage. From there, they have every ability to beat Iowa State. I think Iowa State will be middling in the Big 12 this year. I have them at 11th. I can explain why later. I think BYU loses at Texas Tech. I think they lose at home to TCU. I like TCU. But then Cincinnati and UCF to round it out. Easy schedule. BYU at 2, but I have Utah at 3. There it is. 10-2 for BYU was the initial prediction. They go 11-1 with a freshman quarterback. It's one of the best stories in all of college football. Congratulations to the Cougars and your fan base, who will certainly pack out AT&T Stadium. Last season, now before we go completely in depth on this UCF-BYU game, last season we didn't see, transparently, a great showing from Iowa State fans and Arizona State fans. If you were there, thank you. We needed that. But half the stadium was empty. That will not be the case when the Red Raiders and the Cougars square off this year. 14-0 isn't good. I tweeted this, and I mean it. Parker Kingston, half the time, does the stupidest thing I've ever seen on a football field. He just hands the ball to the opposing team, fumbles it into their hands, gives them an interception. The other half of the time, Parker Kingston does the coolest thing you've ever seen a white boy do. I don't get it. I don't understand it. But today, with Chase Roberts, the star receiver, out of the game, resting, load management for the Big 12 championship against Texas Tech, which worked out fine for BYU. With that being the case, he stepped up big time. Parker Kingston, the player of the game for the BYU Cougars, in a game where they were down 14-0. And you started to ask the question, okay, Aaron Roderick, what are you doing? Okay, Jay Hill in the defense, what are you doing? Then Bear Bachmeier explodes. 21 for 25, 289 yards in the score. LJ Martin, 3 touchdowns. Parker Kingston, the aforementioned, should be the Big 12 player of the week. 6 receptions, 126 yards, and a touchdown, his longest to 46 yards. He also had a punt return for a touchdown. He was the X factor for BYU. Carson Ryan, 5 receptions, 85 yards. I thought he got into the end zone on a play that was marked dead at the 1. That gave LJ Martin yet another touchdown, 22 carries, 95 yards, 4.3 yards per carry for Martin as well. Now, Wahine coming in late was also solid for BYU. I was incredibly impressed with BYU's ability to press go when they needed to. Not to wait around like Texas A&M did. Not to wait around and make this a game at the end, but to press go, the red button of death, and just stomp UCF after a very slow start. A fluky start, if you will. A couple of missed sacks for BYU and Bear Bachmeier being sacked an uncharacteristic amount of times. But UCF ended the first quarter with 150 yards. They only had 298 on the day. UCF throwing the football 254, running the football 44 yards. BYU 407 yards in total. The punt return is going to take a couple of yards off that. You lose a drive there. You get a touchdown on the punt return. 35 minutes time of possession. This game was dominated by BYU. Kalani Sitake and company go undefeated at home. That's a major part of this. If you are a BYU fan and you went to the games this season, you are personally responsible for why the Cougars are in the position that they are in. You did this, dog. This is this. A big piece of this is you. Thank you for your service. Because that is one of the best atmospheres in college football. It is the number one atmosphere in the Big 12. If it's number 2 in the Big 12, it's only number 2 to Texas Tech. And so it's Texas Tech Red Raiders who BYU will meet in the Big 12 championship game. Once again, murder. Tech committed absolute murder against West Virginia. This game was not close, ever. 49-0 the final score in Morgantown on the road. And look, I've given a lot of credit to WVU for their heart, for their drive, for their passion. If you look at what they've done on their schedule, their last few weeks, they beat Houston on the road. They beat Colorado in a gutsy game at home with Scotty Fox Jr. leading the way. They went to Arizona State and only lost by 2 on the road to a but a top 25 caliber team, and went healthy, possibly a playoff caliber team. And then Texas Tech blows them out 49-0. I think it says more about the strength of Texas Tech than it does the weakness of West Virginia. I still like the future for the Mountaineers. I can't say that for a couple of these Big 12 schools that got blown out. I don't know about the future for UCF right now. I don't know about the future and what it looks like for Oklahoma State and their brand new head coach. We'll get to plenty of that over the course of the offseason. But this game for Tech was textbook in what they do. They allowed 9 first downs. West Virginia was 2 for 13 on third down. 572 yards of offense for the Red Raiders, 180 for West Virginia. This was turn the TV off, slaughter. Baron Morton, 25 for 32, 310 yards and 3 touchdowns. He has gotten better and better as the weeks go on. I made the statement, I made the comment that I think the one thing that could keep Texas Tech out of winning a national championship is Baron Morton and the offense not being able to deliver. Now, the reason I made that remark is because of the 5 field goals they kicked against BYU, their inability to score in the red zone. But Baron Morton, since that game specifically, has gotten better and better and better. Texas Tech in crunch time has gotten better and better. Running the football with Cameron Dickey, Jacoby Williams, Oliver Miles III, 4 carries, 35 yards. I mean, you've got so many different options with what Texas Tech brings you. And then West Virginia, conversely, Scotty Fox Jr. held a 13 for 23, 98 yards and a pick. Not good. 1 carry, the Armani Weaver carry, 1 carry, 29 yards. If not for that 1 carry, the leading rusher for West Virginia would be Rodney Gallagher with 2 carries for 7 yards. The 37 yards on 22 carries for West Virginia, 29 of them on Weaver's game. That is the dominance of Texas Tech. They have a national championship caliber defense. I truly believe that. And they are in the Big 12 championship. Again, when you show up every day to Locked On Big 12, This isn't ESPN. This is not On 3. It is not CBS or even Fox. This is where I bring you insider coverage of the conference. I study these teams meticulously. And look, I don't get them all right. Arizona, I thought, would be at the bottom of the conference. They weren't. I thought Cincinnati would struggle this year. They didn't. Not near as much as I believed they would. But there's a lot in there on my Big 12, Locked On Big 12 preseason predictions that are on the money. Arizona State being right there in the middle of the pack. Houston being on the top end of the Big 12 conference. TCU, middle of the pack. Kansas, kind of that back end, middle of the pack. Iowa State, middling a bit this year. That's what you get here. When you decided to devote your time to me and my show, I'm going to pay it off back to you. No doubt. This has been It Always Will Be. Oh, it's going to be a good week. It's going to be a great week. Locked On. Thanks for making it your first listen every single day. Dose Grande.